Welcome to Monk's Temple. Listen to the quiet just beneath this sound. The quiet in your room, the quiet between your thoughts. It's always there, a deep and patient listener, waiting for you to join it. You don't need to be anywhere else right now. You don't need to be anyone else. However you arrived here, weary, curious, hopeful, or simply adrift, this space is for you. This time is yours. So let's begin by simply arriving. Feel the weight of your body being supported, wherever you are. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest, all on its own. Life is breathing you. And in that simple, involuntary miracle, there is a profound point of rest. For the next while, let's have a conversation in the quiet. I'll share stories, and you simply listen, letting the words settle like leaves on a still pond. If this sense of gentle companionship feels like a harbor in your day, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. By subscribing, you're simply leaving a lantern lit on this path, making it easier to find your way back to this peace whenever you need it. Now, let's settle in together. In a forgotten wing of a vast, timeless library, there worked a librarian. This was no ordinary library. Its shelves held not books, but lived experiences, shimmering volumes of joyful moments bound in gold leaf, heavy tomes of grief in dark cloth, slender pamphlets of anxiety, epic histories of love. Most visitors, which is to say, most people, would rush into the stacks, frantically searching for a specific volume to prove a point. Where is the book that proves I'm not good enough, they'd demand, or I need the sequel to The Time I Was Wronged. They'd clutch these stories to their chests, believing them to be sacred, unchangeable texts, reading them aloud to anyone who would listen until the words wore grooves in their minds. The librarian, however, spent most of her days not in the stacks, but in the central reading room. This was a vast, circular hall with a domed glass ceiling showing the sky. The room was empty but for a single, comfortable chair. If a distressed visitor came to her, clutching, say, the dripping wet volume of Yesterday's Argument, she would listen with infinite patience. Then she might say softly, "That is a compelling story. You are free to read it. But remember, you are not a character trapped inside its pages. You are the one holding it. You can close the cover. You can even, when you're ready, return it to the shelf. Would you like to sit in the reading room for a while? The light is lovely here. The reading room is the present moment, the space of pure awareness. The books are our thoughts, our memories, the relentless narratives we recite to ourselves. The library is your mind. Suffering is moving permanently into the dusty stacks, living and breathing the old paper, believing the fiction is fact. Peace is remembering you have a permanent, reserved seat in the silent, sky-filled reading room. You are not the story of your past, nor the draft of your future. You are the aware presence in which all stories appear and dissolve. This is our first teaching: you are the reader, not the book. Beneath the surface of any ocean, no matter how fierce the storm, a deep current moves. It is unhurried, powerful, and untouched by the chaos above. The surface waves, the crashing anxiety, the choppy frustrations, the white-capped joys, are real, but they are temporary, conditional. They depend on the wind. The deep current depends on something vaster, the turning of the earth, the pull of the moon, the very structure of the sea itself. You contain both. Your surface mind is the ever-changing weather of thought and emotion. Your deep current is your fundamental awareness, the silent, knowing presence that has been with you since your first breath and will be with you through your last. It is the part of you that hears these words right now. We suffer when we forget how to dive, when we believe we are the storm-tossed surface. We exhaust ourselves trying to calm the wind instead of connecting with the depth. The practice is a simple, daily dive. You don't need special equipment. Your breath is your diving bell. Right now, let's take one dive together. As you hear this, follow your next in-breath all the way down past the planning, past the mental commentary, down to where there is just sensation. The coolness at the nostrils, the expansion in the ribs. Then follow the out-breath all the way back up. You just touched the deep current. You didn't change the surface weather. You simply connected with what lies beneath it. This is the teaching of the daily dive. Your peace is not the absence of waves. It is the remembrance of the depth. On the sun-bleached island of Santorini, a potter named Giannis worked with the local volcanic clay. He was famous for his beautiful, delicate amphorae, vessels used to hold water and wine. A collector once purchased one, a piece with a graceful spiral pattern. Years later, the collector returned, heartbroken. An earthquake had shaken his home, and the pot had toppled from its shelf. He brought the fragments in a velvet pouch. "Giannis," he said, his voice thick, "can you repair it? I can pay anything. It was my most cherished piece." Giannis poured the fragments onto his work table, running his fingers over their edges. He was quiet for a long time. "I can make you a new pot," he said finally. "But this one, its journey as a vessel is complete. It held water beautifully. Now it has returned to being clay. Its breaking was written into its being from the moment I first centered it on the wheel. To try to glue it back into its old form would be to dishonor its truth." He scooped the shards into a bucket of water. "See? Now it softens. It will become slip. And tomorrow, I will use this same clay to center a new lump on the wheel. It will become something new. Perhaps a bowl. Perhaps a tile." We loved the form while it lasted. But the clay is eternal. We grieve not for the broken clay, but for the shattered illusion of permanence. We do this with everything, a phase of life, a relationship, our health, a dream. We fall in love with the specific form, the perfect shape of a moment, and rage against the nature of the clay, which is to change, to transform, to eventually return to the wheel. The teaching here is clay love. Can we cherish the vessel while it holds our water, knowing its nature is to one day return to the earth? Can we appreciate the relationship, the job, the healthy body, without demanding it be a permanent monument? This love is fearless and free, for it kisses the fleetingness of things. Imagine every experience you have arrives first as a raw, neutral signal. A pure data point. Then, instantly, a part of your mind, let's call it the translator, rushes in. It takes this raw signal and overlays a story, a judgment, a meaning from its worn-out phrasebook. Raw signal. Your boss says, "We need to talk tomorrow." Translator's version, "I'm in trouble. I've failed. My job is at risk. I'll never recover." Raw signal, "A quiet evening at home." Translator's version, "I'm lonely. My life is empty. Everyone else is out having fun. The translator is not evil. It's a worried, overworked clerk from your past, trying to protect you by predicting danger. But its translations are not reality. They are interpretations, and often disastrously inaccurate ones. Mindfulness is the practice of catching the translator in the act. It's creating a tiny, sacred pause between the raw signal and the translated story. In that pause, you can examine the signal for what it is, just words from your boss, just the quality of silence in your room. From that clear space, you can then choose a new, wiser translation, or choose not to translate at all. My boss wants to talk. That's the data. The house is quiet. That's the data. This gap is the seat of your freedom. It's the moment you realize you are not the frantic translator, you are the aware manager who can review its work. This is the teaching of pausing the translator. In the city of Mostar, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, there is an ancient stone bridge, the Starry Most. For centuries, it gracefully arched over the Neretva River, connecting two sides of the city, two communities, two ways of life. It was more than stone, it was a symbol of connection. During war, the bridge was destroyed, shattered into the river below. In the aftermath, the divide felt absolute, the grief immeasurable. The stones seemed lost forever. But the people, in time, decided to rebuild. They didn't erect a new, modern steel bridge. Divers went into the cold river to recover the original, weathered stones. Each one was numbered, catalogued, and used in the reconstruction. The new bridge is the old bridge, but it is also not. It carries the scars, the memory of the break, woven into its very fabric. It is both timeless and entirely new. It doesn't pretend the destruction never happened. It stands as a testament to what can be rebuilt from fragments, to a connection that is more resilient for having been broken and consciously restored. Your heart is that bridge. It will be damaged. Trust will be shattered. Hope will fall into the river. The immediate aftermath is grief, a feeling of permanent separation. But the teaching of the rebuilt bridge asks, what stones can be recovered? Not to pretend the break never happened, but to build a new connection that honors the truth of both the breaking and the joining. Some relationships can be rebuilt. Some cannot. But within yourself, your own wholeness can always be reconstructed from the fragments of disappointment, using the mortar of compassion and the blueprint of wisdom. The new structure will be different, perhaps even stronger, marked by beautiful, visible seams of healing. Yes, I can expand the script into 12 detailed parts to meet your word count and create a rich, immersive experience. Each part will flow continuously as a guided meditation with original stories and teachings. Let's go a little deeper now. Where is your true home? Not the place where you keep your belongings, but the space within you that remains untouched no matter what happens outside. Imagine, if you will, a vast and ancient citadel inside your own being. Its walls are not made of stone, but of silent awareness. Its gates are not of wood, but of your intention. Outside this citadel, the weather of life plays out in all its intensity. There are storms of grief, winds of change, scorching days of pressure, and freezing nights of fear. These are real. They are powerful. But within the citadel, in its innermost courtyard, there is a still, clear pool. The water in that pool is undisturbed. The storms cannot touch it. The noise cannot reach it. For much of our lives, We live outside the walls. We try to manage the weather. We build flimsy shelters of distraction, achievement, or validation, hoping they will keep us dry. We exhaust ourselves trying to control what is fundamentally uncontrollable. We are drenched, shivering, and tired. But you have always had the key. It is your breath. One conscious, gentle breath is the sound of the great gate swinging inward. It's not forced. It's simply remembered. A second breath, and you are walking across the threshold, leaving the chaos of the storm outside. A third, and you are sitting beside that still pool. You haven't stopped the storm. You may still hear its distant rumble. But you are now in relationship with it from a place of absolute shelter. This is the teaching of the Inner Citadel. Your fundamental safety and peace do not depend on calming the external weather. They are the very architecture of your soul. In the medieval city of Bruges, when the cobblestone streets grew dark and the canals became ribbons of ink, the night watchman began his rounds. His name was Willem. His job was not to prevent all crime, an impossible task, but to be a presence. He would walk his route, his lantern casting a warm, swinging circle of light on the ancient stones. Every hour, he would call out, 10 o'clock and all is well. His call was not a naive declaration that nothing bad could ever happen. It was a ritual of steadiness. It reminded the sleeping citizens that a watchful, caring awareness was awake in the dark, so they could rest more deeply. Your mindful attention is the night watchman of your inner world. The city is your psyche. With its shadowy alleys of memory, its warm taverns of comfort, its empty squares of loneliness. Thoughts, like late-night revelers, may shout. Worries, like stray cats, may scuttle in the shadows. Your practice is not to control every single sound in the city. It is to be the steady, watchful presence that walks the rounds. When anxiety howls from a dark alley, you don't have to go in and wrestle it. You can acknowledge it from the mouth of the lane. I hear you. I am here. All is well. You keep walking your round, your breath the rhythm of your footsteps. This watchfulness is not a tense vigilance born of fear, but a loving, spacious attention. It allows everything within the city to exist, while maintaining a fundamental, unshakable okayness. This is the teaching of the kind watch. You are not the chaos in the streets. You are the one who walks through it, offering the steady, rhythmic call of presence. We think of ourselves as nouns. I am a teacher. I am anxious. I am a failure. I am a success. We solidify ourselves into finished objects. But what if this is the most fundamental illusion? A geologist studying a glacier in Patagonia doesn't see a static thing. She sees a slow, powerful river of ice, glaciating. It is never the same from one moment to the next. It creaks, groans, calves off icebergs, advances, retreats. To call it a glacier is helpful shorthand, but to think that's all it is misses its dynamic, verb-like nature. You are not a noun. You are a collection of magnificent, ongoing processes. You are breathing. You are feeling. You are thinking. You are changing. The state you call anxiety is not a solid cell you're trapped in, it is the process of anxietizing, and like any weather pattern, it will transform. The role you call my career is not a castle, it is the activity of contributing, learning, creating, and it will evolve. When you see yourself as a verb, a tremendous weight lifts. You are no longer a fixed, possibly flawed, statue. You are a river, constantly flowing and renewing. You release the burden of having to be a certain way forever. You join the sacred, dynamic dance of existence itself. This is the teaching of the flowing self. You are not a portrait. You are the painting. In Kyoto, there is an art form called Kintsugi, the practice of repairing broken pottery with lacquer mixed with gold, silver, or platinum. The philosophy is profound. The breakage and repair are seen as part of the object's history, to be highlighted, not hidden. A master kintsugi artist, Sato, was once asked why he doesn't make the repair invisible. "Why would I hide the truth?" he replied. "This bowl served well and then it met with a moment of impact. That is its story." To disguise the break with glue and paint would be to lie about its life. To repair it with gold is to say, "Look at what you survived." Your scars are not flaws. They are the places where the light enters you in a new way. You are more beautiful for having been broken. We spend so much energy trying to hide our cracks, our failures, our heartbreaks, our periods of depression or confusion. We present a glossy, seamless facade to the world and to ourselves, fearing that our breaks make us worthless. But the teaching of golden seams invites a radical shift. Your breaks are not evidence of failure, they are evidence of living. They are the unique map of your journey. What if, instead of hiding them, you could acknowledge them with a loving, respectful attention? What if you could fill the cracks not with shame, but with the gold of wisdom learned, the silver of compassion grown, the platinum of resilience forged? You would not be a broken vessel. You would be a work of art, whose value is infinitely increased by its honest history. Now, let's speak of movement. Of flow. Life is not a still pond. It is a great river. We are not statues on the bank, we are in the current. Our trouble begins when we try to stand still in moving water, or when we grasp for branches on the passing shore, hoping to anchor ourselves to something that cannot hold. On the mighty Mekong River, in Laos, an elderly ferryman named Bound guided his long, narrow boat across the powerful brown current. He carried everyone. Farmers with baskets of durian, monks in saffron robes, tourists with wide eyes, families with squawking chickens. The river was his life. He knew its moods, its dry season gentleness and its monsoon rage. One day, a young passenger, terrified by the swirling water and the boat's rocking, cried out, "Aren't you afraid? What if we capsize?" Bound kept his eyes on the far shore, his hands steady on the oar. "I am not afraid of the water," he said. "My fear would not make it still. My job is not to control the river. My job is to understand it. To know how to move with it. To read its currents, to respect its power, and to steer my boat accordingly. The water will do what the water will do. I do what a boatman does." He nodded to the passenger's white-knuckled grip on the gunwale. "You are trying to hold the river still with your hands. You cannot. You can only learn to sit in the boat. Our emotions, our changing circumstances, the actions of others. This is the river. It is powerful, often unpredictable, and entirely beyond our command to stop its flow. Our suffering is the white-knuckled grip, the desperate attempt to freeze the current or to steer a course blind to its real conditions. The practice is to become the skillful ferryman. To put our hands on the oars of our own attention and intention. To feel the current of anger without letting it spin the boat. To navigate the eddies of loss by steering toward the shore of grief, not away from it. We don't control the water. We learn the art of crossing. This is the teaching of skillful navigation. Peace is not a dry dock, it is the confidence to float. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine an orchestra tuning. A cacophony of sound, a screech from the violin, a blat from the trumpet, a rumble from the bass. Now, imagine that this orchestra is your inner world. The strings section is your physical sensations, aches, comforts, tensions, ease. The woodwinds are your fluttering, breath-like emotions. The brass is your powerful, sometimes blaring, drives and passions. The percussion is your chattering, rhythmic thoughts. Most of our lives, we are not the conductor. We are a single, terrified violinist, scraping away at one frantic tune, convinced the entire symphony depends on us getting this one part right. Or worse, we are a member of the audience, being bombarded by the discordant noise, feeling helpless and overwhelmed. Mindfulness is the practice of stepping onto the conductor's podium. It does not mean silencing the orchestra. It means raising the baton of your awareness and beginning to listen to the whole ensemble. You hear the anxious tremolo in the strings. You acknowledge the mournful oboe of sadness. You don't try to stop them from playing. You bring them into the conscious harmony of the whole piece. From this vantage point, you can influence the music. You can cue the cellos of compassion to play a softer, supporting line under the shrieking violins of fear. You can bring in the gentle harps of gratitude. You are not playing any one instrument, you are harmonizing them into a coherent, beautiful whole. This is the teaching of taking the podium. Your life is not a noise happening to you. It is a music you have the capacity to compose, moment by mindful moment. In the age of exploration, European mapmakers faced a dilemma. What to do with the vast, unknown regions of the world? Some, in their fear or arrogance, filled the blanks with monsters. Hic sunt dracons, they wrote. Here be dragons. These were fantasies of terror, born of ignorance. But the wisest cartographers did something different. They left the spaces blank, or wrote terra incognita, unknown land. This was an honest admission. It said, we do not know what is here. It may hold danger. It may hold wonder. It is to be discovered. Your mind is a constant mapmaker. For the well-trodden paths, your daily routines, your known skills, you have detailed charts. But life inevitably pushes you past the edge of the known. A sudden illness. An unexpected opportunity. A heartbreak that reshapes your landscape. And in that blank space on your mental map, what do you inscribe? Most often, we scribble in our own dragons, monsters of catastrophic prediction, beasts of, I can't handle this, serpents of shame. The spiritual practice is to become the wise cartographer. To look at the blank space of the unknown and, with courage, write terra incognita. Or better yet, hic sunt mirabilia, here be wonders. This is not naive optimism. It is a commitment to curiosity over fear. It is acknowledging that the unknown is the only territory where growth, discovery, and genuine newness can ever be found. The dragon of a failed project might guard the treasure of a new direction. The sea monster of vulnerability might lead to the undiscovered continent of true intimacy. This is the teaching of the honest map. Your future is not a pre-drawn chart full of monsters. It is a largely blank parchment, awaiting the story you will choose to inscribe with your choices and your attitude. Let us now turn our attention to what is unseen, yet holds everything together. Like the roots beneath a great tree, or the foundations under a city, there is an architecture to peace that is built in the quiet, in the choices no one sees. In the volcanic soil of Iceland, where the wind blows fierce and trees are scarce, there is a farmer named Ellen who cultivates a humble, vital crop, turnips. Her work is not with what flashes in the sun, but with what grows in the dark. She tends to the roots. While others might focus on the fleeting beauty of flowers, Ellen knows that resilience, nourishment, and the ability to weather the long, dark winter lie in the depth and health of what is hidden. She says, the leaves can be nibbled by sheep, the stem can be bent by the gale. But if the root is deep and strong, the plant will return. My work is with the darkness under the earth. That is where the true life is. We often focus all our energy on the visible stems and leaves of our lives. Our achievements, our social image, our immediate feelings. When these are damaged, by criticism, by a bad day, by a perceived failure, we feel destroyed. But the teaching of the hidden root asks, what are you cultivating beneath the surface? What is the depth of your self-compassion? How strong are the roots of your silent, non-judgmental awareness? How well do you tend the dark, rich soil of your inner world through meditation, reflection, and honest self-care? If your roots are deep, no storm above can uproot you. Your work in the dark is what guarantees your growth in the light. Consider an old dry stone wall, the kind built without mortar, seen in the countryside of Scotland or New England. Its strength and stability do not come from glue, but from the skillful placement of each irregular stone. The mason spends most of his time not on the stones themselves, but on the spaces between them. He searches for the perfect fit, where the contour of one stone meets the unique hollow of another. The wall stands for centuries, flexible in the wind, because of the intelligent relationship between its parts, held by gravity and balance, not rigid cement. Your peace is like that wall. It is not a solid, monolithic block of happiness that can be cracked by a single blow. It is a resilient structure built from all the elements of your experience. The rough stones of grief, the smooth stones of joy, the heavy stones of responsibility, the odd-shaped stones of your quirks. Suffering is the attempt to mortar them all together into a seamless, rigid facade that must never change. It's exhausting and ultimately fragile. Wisdom is the practice of being the mindful mason. It is looking at the thought of anxiety and finding the right relationship to it, giving it space without letting it destabilize the whole structure. It is placing the stone of a difficult memory in a way that it becomes part of the wall's character, not a destabilizing flaw. The strength is in the artful arrangement, the respectful space, the dynamic balance. This is the teaching of relational strength. Your wholeness is not about eliminating the difficult pieces. It is about learning how they fit into the beautiful, resilient architecture of your life. On the island of Murano in Venice, a glassblower named Giancarlo works with fire and breath. He gathers a molten, glowing gather of glass on the end of his blowpipe, a chaotic, formless, searing mass. His skill lies not in forcing it into a predetermined shape against its will, but in a delicate, responsive dance. He turns the pipe constantly. He applies heat with precision. He uses the force of his own breath, channeled through the tube, to coax a bubble into being. He must work with the nature of the glass, its viscosity, its cooling rate, its inherent tendencies. If he forces it, it shatters. If he ignores its state, it collapses. The beautiful vase that emerges is a product of intense collaboration between the artist's intention and the material's truth. Your life is that gather of molten glass. Your plans and dreams are the artist's intention. But reality has its own nature. It is impermanent, it is often unpredictable, it has its own timing and resistance. Suffering is the act of forcing the glass, insisting that reality must conform exactly to your mental blueprint, raging when it cools too fast or doesn't stretch the way you want it. This leads to inner shattering. The alternative is the glassblower's wisdom, creative collaboration. You hold your intention lightly. You apply the gentle, steady heat of your effort. You use the breath of your awareness to create space within the situation. But you are always in a dance with the actual conditions in front of you. You listen to the material of your life. Maybe today, the glass of your energy is stiff, it calls for patience, not grand gestures. Maybe a sudden change is like an unexpected cooling, it asks you to adapt your design. The resulting life is not a perfect replica of your initial sketch, but something more organic, more unique, and often more beautiful, a true collaboration between your spirit and the world. Let's turn now to the most intimate landscape you will ever tend, the garden of your own mind. Every thought you think is a seed. Every feeling you linger in is water. What are you growing in there? In a quiet Kyoto garden, a bonsai master named Haru tends to trees that are centuries old, yet stand less than a meter tall. His art is one of profound patience and subtle direction. He does not yell at the pine to grow faster. He does not yank the branches into place. He uses tiny, almost invisible wires to guide growth over years. He prunes with reverence, removing only what is necessary to reveal the tree's essential, elegant spirit. He understands that his role is not to create the tree, but to collaborate with its innate tendency toward beauty, to help it express its most harmonious form. I am not the grower, he says. I am the listener. The tree knows what it wants to be. My job is to remove the noise, the overcrowded branches, the growth that leads away from the light, so its true shape can be seen. Your mind, your character, is that ancient, living tree. It has its own wisdom, its own natural tendency toward balance and health, what Buddhism calls Buddha nature. Yet, it has become overgrown with the noise of conditioned thoughts, reactive habits, and tangled beliefs. Spiritual practice is not about ripping out the tree and planting a new one. It is the patient, gentle work of the bonsai master. It is the subtle wiring of mindfulness that guides your attention back, again and again, to the present branch, the current breath. It is the compassionate pruning of unhelpful mental patterns, not with hatred, but with the precise snip of discernment, making space for light and air. You are not building a new you. You are clearing away what obscures the innate, graceful truth of who you already are. This is the teaching of subtractive revelation. Picture yourself standing in the heart of a vast, red rock canyon. You shout a sentence into the stillness. A moment later, the canyon faithfully returns your words to you, changed only by the resonance of the stone. If you shout, "I am alone," the canyon echoes back, "Alone, alone, alone." The sound surrounds you, convincing you of its truth. Now, you speak differently. You whisper, "I am here." And after a pause, a softer echo returns, "Here, here, here." The canyon is your mind. It possesses no original opinion. It is a magnificent resonator. The thoughts you consistently send into it. The shouts of, "I can't," the murmurs of, "I'm not enough," the rehearsed speeches of resentment, are what it amplifies and returns to you as your perceived reality. You then mistake the echo for the voice of the canyon itself, for a fundamental truth. The practice is to become conscious of what you are shouting. When you hear the relentless echo of fear or lack, you have a sacred opportunity. You need not shout a false positive. You can simply change the call. You can introduce a question. Is this true? You can state a neutral fact, this is a thought passing through. You can offer a kinder phrase, this is difficult, and I am meeting it. The echo will change in response. This is the teaching of conscious resonance. You are in a constant, creative dialogue with your own consciousness. The quality of your inner world depends less on the canyon structure and more on the words you choose to send into its depths. On the windswept, rocky coast of Newfoundland, a lighthouse keeper named Maggie kept her vigil. Her lighthouse was a sentinel against the treacherous fog and the North Atlantic's furious storms. Her duty was clear, to keep the lamp lit, the lenses clean, and the mechanism turning, no matter what. She couldn't calm the sea. She couldn't lift the fog. She couldn't dictate the paths of the ships. She could only tend her light with unwavering consistency. Skippers navigating the shipping lanes would speak of seeing her beam cut through the thick sea fog. They didn't know her name, but they knew her light. It didn't tell them where to go, it told them where the rocks were. It gave them a fixed point of reference in the featureless gray, so they could chart their own course to safety. Your inner stability is that lighthouse. Your changing moods, the fog of confusion, the storms of external drama, this is the weather. It is real and powerful. But your light is your conscious, compassionate awareness. Your practice is not to stop the storm, an impossible task, but to keep your light clean and bright. When emotions rage like a gale, don't waste energy shouting at the waves. Turn your attention to trimming the wick of your presence. Breathe. Feel your feet on the ground. This light does not judge the storm, it simply offers a reliable point of orientation within it. From that steady place, you can then see clearly, make wiser choices, and perhaps even offer a beam of calm to others lost in their own fog. This is the teaching of steadfast illumination. Tend your light, regardless of the weather. Now, let's widen the circle. We've spoken of the inner world, but no being exists in a vacuum. We are threads in a vast, living tapestry. Our peace is never solely our own, it is woven into the peace of others. In a small fishing village in Cornwall, an old woman named Morwenna sat on the harbor wall, mending nets. Her fingers, nimble and sure, worked the shuttle through the broken webbing, tying precise, sturdy knots. She didn't weave new nets, she repaired the ruptures in the existing ones. A young fisherman, frustrated by a tear in his best net, grumbled, "It's ruined. The hole is too big." Morwenna took the net, held it up to the light, and pointed. "See? The hole is just a space. The net around it is still strong. My job isn't to lament the hole. My job is to reconnect the threads on either side of it. Each knot I tie bridges a gap. A mended net is often stronger at the knot than it was before. Our relationships, our communities, our own sense of connection to life, these are the net. Conflicts, misunderstandings, losses, and betrayals are the tears. Our instinct is often to see the hole as a fatal flaw, to throw the whole net away in anger or despair. It's ruined. But the teaching of the mended net is one of active, patient repair. It is the work of tying knots of forgiveness, of understanding, of honest communication. It is the willingness to pick up the shuttle of compassion and reconnect what has been severed. This mending doesn't pretend the tear never happened, the knot remains, a testament to the break and the healing. But the overall fabric is restored, its functionality, its capacity to hold and support. Made whole again, and at the mended places, even more resilient. Imagine two rivers flowing side by side. One is the river of your personal experience, your thoughts, your feelings, your private history. Its waters are colored by your unique joys and sorrows. Right beside it flows a second, vaster river, the river of shared human experience. This river contains the universal currents of love and loss, hope and fear, the desire for belonging, the terror of death, the search for meaning. Its water is clear and deep. Suffering feels absolute when we believe we are only the first river, isolated in our particular, colored waters. We feel uniquely doomed, uniquely flawed, uniquely alone in our pain. But peace arises when we realize our river is not separate. The banks between them are an illusion. Our personal waters are constantly mingling with the universal. That sharp grief you feel, it's a tributary of the great river of loss that has flowed through all humanity. That flash of joy, it's a spark from a universal stream of bliss. This is the foundation of true compassion. When you see someone angry or cruel, you can perceive not just a personal attack, but a troubled eddy in the shared river of confusion and fear. It doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it changes your reaction from personal vengeance to a more sorrowful, wise understanding. You realize, this pain is not just mine. This longing is not just mine. This connection is the antidote to loneliness. It is the teaching of the mingling waters. Your pain is personal, but it is not private. In recognizing its shared nature, you find both solace and a boundless source of empathy. In the Cathedral of Amiens, France, there is a bell ringer named Pierre who has a unique duty. He doesn't ring the great Bourdon bell for Mass, that is automated. His job is to ring the smaller, Angelus bell 3 times a day. At dawn, noon, and dusk, he climbs the tower and sends a simple, clear sequence of notes out over the city. Office workers pause at their desks. Shopkeepers look up. Parents in the park stop pushing swings for a moment. For a few seconds, disparate lives are synchronized by a single, deliberate sound. It is a call to remembrance, to pause, to briefly touch something larger than the day's tasks. Pierre says, I do not know who hears it or what it means to them. I only know it is time to ring. The sound does the work. Your practice of peace is like ringing that bell. You do it for yourself, but you cannot control who hears its resonance or how it affects them. When you cultivate patience in a stressful moment, that patience reverberates subtly in your home or workplace. When you choose kindness over reactivity, that kindness echoes in the heart of the person who receives it, who may then pass it on unconsciously. When you take a mindful breath in a crowded room, you are, in a tiny way, changing the atmosphere. You are sending out a note of presence into the collective noise. You may never see the effect, but the ringing is its own purpose. This is the teaching of unseen resonance. Your inner work is never just for you. It is a note in the collective symphony, contributing to the harmony of the whole. Let's talk about time. Not the clock on the wall, but the time we live inside. The past we replay, the future we pre-live, and the elusive present we so often miss. In a dusty courtyard in the Medina of Marrakesh, an old craftsman named Karim builds sundials. But his are not simple garden ornaments. He calibrates them for the specific latitude and longitude of a patron's home, accounting for the angle of the sun in that exact spot on Earth. He engraves not just hours, but lines for the 5 daily prayer times. A client once asked him, why such precision? Time flies the same for everyone. Karim shook his head, pointing a bony finger at the shadow slowly creeping across the stone. Time does not fly. Look. It is a shadow, cast by the light, measured by where you stand. If you stand here, in this courtyard, this is your noon. If you stand in Fez, noon is different. If you are lost in thought, you miss the shadow's movement entirely. You miss your own time. My dials do not tell time. They reveal your place in the relationship between light and earth, right now. The past is a shadow that has moved. The future is a shadow yet to fall. But this line, where the shadow meets the stone, this is your life. We live most of our lives either in the shadow that has passed, regret, nostalgia, resentment, or in the shadow yet to come, anxiety, planning, dread. We miss the delicate, living line where the shadow actually touches the stone, the present sensory experience. The teaching of the shadow's edge is this: your life is only ever happening along that razor-thin line of now. The past is a memory happening now. The future is a thought happening now. To anchor yourself at the shadow's edge, to feel the sun on your skin, the stone under your feet, the breath in your lungs this instant, is to step out of the mental drama of time and into the reality of existence. Consider your emotional life not as a linear path to a destination called happy, but as an internal landscape experiencing perpetual seasons. There is the lush, green summer of joy and expansion. The crisp, fruitful autumn of release and introspection. The deep, silent winter of grief, rest, and inner turning. The tender, muddy spring of new hope and fragile growth. The problem is not winter. The problem is believing that summer is the only valid season, and that winter is a mistake, a personal failure, or a permanent state. We fight the frost. We resent the falling leaves. We exhaust ourselves trying to force blossoms in the snow. Wisdom is developing the trust of a seasoned farmer. The farmer does not love winter less, but he understands its necessity. He knows the frozen ground is killing pests and setting buds. He knows the fallow period is restoring the soil. He has faith in the cycle. He prepares, he rests, he tends to what can be tended indoors, and he waits with patience for the inevitable turn. When sadness settles in like a winter fog, can you meet it not as an enemy, but as a season? Can you allow it its time, trusting that its purpose is to compost old feelings, to create space for a future spring? This is the teaching of emotional permaculture. Don't wage war on your inner weather. Learn its cycles. Tend your garden accordingly. Every season belongs. In a peculiar, non-existent library, there works an archivist whose sole job is to preserve moments. Not events, but moments, the exact feel of cool grass on bare feet at age 7, the scent of rain on hot pavement before a storm, the way the light fell across a loved one's face in a now-forgotten conversation. He stores them not in files, but in sensations. People sometimes come to him searching for a lost moment, heartsick with nostalgia. He never gives them the moment back directly. Instead, he leads them to a window and says, "Breathe. Now look. The light is falling in a new way, on a new face, or on that old tree outside. This moment is being archived right now. If you spend all your time in my stacks, you will miss the one being written. The past is saved. The present is being offered. Which will you choose?" Nostalgia and regret are forms of time theft. They rob the present moment to pay a debt to a past that no longer exists, or to fund a worry about a future that isn't here. The teaching of the present archive is a gentle reminder: the only moment you can ever actually experience, feel, touch, or change is this one. The memory of a beach vacation is a ghost. The feeling of sand between your toes right now, even if it's just in your imagination or memory, is happening now. Anchor there. This breath, this sound, this sensation, this is the only raw material of your life. Everything else is a story about the material. Don't live in the library of stories. Live in the room where the writing is happening. Attention is the most powerful force you possess. It is not just what you think about, it is the very energy that shapes your reality. Where you place it determines what grows, what fades, and what transforms in the field of your experience. In the bustling markets of Jaipur, India, there is a master jeweler named Raj. He works in a small, sunlit room, surrounded by uncut stones, rough, cloudy, and unremarkable to the untrained eye. A novice once watched him for hours, fascinated. Raj would take a dull piece of tourmaline, mount it on his lathe, and with a series of precise, deliberate facets, cut into the stone. With each cut, light entered in a new way. What began as a murky gray lump became, under his patient attention, a gem of sparkling pink and green, throwing rainbows onto the wall. The novice asked, "How do you know where to cut?" Raj held up the finished gem to the light. "I don't create the color," he said. "The color is sleeping inside, trapped by the rough surface. My attention is the knife. I simply remove what is blocking the light. Every piece contains its own brilliance. My job is to pay such close attention that I can see where to cut to set it free. Your consciousness is that master jeweler. Your innate peace, wisdom, and clarity are the brilliant light within the stone of your being. But it is covered over by the rough, opaque layers of conditioned thought, reactive emotion, and old stories, the rock of your personality. Meditation and mindfulness are not about adding something new. They are the patient, precise art of subtractive attention. With the gentle, persistent focus of your awareness, the jeweler's lathe, you make cuts. You cut away the layer of identification with a worrying thought. You facet away the coarse edge of a harsh self-judgment. With each mindful moment, you remove a little more of what obscures the inner light. You are not manufacturing peace. You are revealing the luminosity that has always been there. In the wilderness of your own body, sensation is your most reliable compass. Thoughts are like misleading signs, painted by past experiences. Emotions are like weather, changeable and sometimes stormy. But physical sensation in the body is the true north of the present moment. It is always happening now. Close your eyes for a moment. Drop your awareness out of your head and into the landscape of your body. Scan from the crown of your head down to your toes. Don't look for anything dramatic. Just feel. Is there warmth in your hands? A slight pressure where your body meets the chair. A buzz of energy in your feet. A tightness in your jaw you hadn't noticed. Don't judge it or try to change it. Just note it. Warmth. Pressure. Tightness. This is the data stream of the present. When you are lost in a storm of anxiety about tomorrow, this compass is your way back. The anxiety might shout about future catastrophes, but your body is only ever experiencing this moment. Find the sensation of the anxiety itself. Perhaps a fluttering in the chest, a clenching in the gut. Place your attention there, not on the story. Just feel the raw sensation. Like watching a wave, it will rise, peak, and fall. By anchoring in the compass of sensation, you step out of the mental hurricane and into the manageable reality of the present. This is the teaching of somatic grounding. Your body is not a container for your problems, it is a portal to presence. In Nova Scotia, where the Bay of Fundy has the highest tides on Earth, there was an old fisherman known as the tidesmith. He could predict the tidal flow not just by charts, but by feeling, the smell of the air, the texture of the wind, the behavior of the gulls. He built his wooden docks and set his nets in harmony with this immense, rhythmic breathing of the ocean. A young engineer once showed him a sophisticated tidal prediction app. This can tell you the exact minute of high tide years from now, he boasted. The tidesmith nodded, unimpressed. Your machine knows the time of the tide, he said. But does it know the mood? Can it tell you if the high tide will come in gentle laps or crashing waves? I don't work with the clock of the tide. I work with its spirit. I adjust my knots for its temper. I listen to it. Your energy, your focus, your emotional capacity, these are your inner tides. You have a clock time schedule, but you also have a tidal time energy flow. The modern world honors only the clock, demanding constant high output. This leads to exhaustion and burnout, as we fight our own natural low tides. The wisdom of the tidesmith is the teaching of energetic harmony. It is learning to listen to your own spirit's rhythms. Some days are high tide, you are expansive, productive, social. Some days are low tide, you need rest, introspection, quiet. Fighting the low tide is as futile and damaging as trying to build a sandcastle as the water recedes. The practice is to notice your tide. Ah, this is an ebb day. I will adjust my knots. I will do quieter, more nurturing work. By aligning your actions with your inner rhythm, not just the external clock, you work with your nature, not against it. You find a sustainable, graceful flow. We come now to one of the most challenging and illuminating grounds of practice. Our relationships with others. Every person we meet becomes a mirror, but what we see reflected back often says more about the quality of our own looking than about the mirror itself. In the German town of Jena, renowned for its optics, an old lens grinder named Helmut crafted precision lenses for microscopes and telescopes. Apprentices would bring him cloudy, imperfect glass, frustrated they couldn't see clearly through it. Helmut would place the glass on his grinding machine and say, "The flaw is not in what you look at. The flaw is in the lens through which you look." He would then spend hours, sometimes days, patiently grinding and polishing, removing microscopic imperfections until the glass was perfectly transparent. Now, he'd say, holding it up to the light, "You are not looking at a lens. You are looking through a clarity. The world itself hasn't changed, but your relationship to it has." Our perceptions of other people are filtered through the lens of our own conditioning, our past wounds, our insecurities, our hopes and fears. When we see someone as irritating, untrustworthy, or cold, we are often seeing the scratches and distortions on our own lens. The person's behavior is the light, our interpretation is the glass. The spiritual work is not to change the light, the other person, nor to blame the lens, ourselves harshly. It is the patient, humble work of lens polishing. It is examining our own reactions. Why does this behavior trigger me? What old wound does it touch? What story am I telling myself about what it means? As we polish the lens with self-inquiry and compassion, our view clears. We may still see challenging behavior, but we see it more accurately, less personally, and with more space to choose a wise response. The other person may or may not change. But your world changes, because you are seeing it through clearer eyes. This is an old teaching, but let's walk through its rooms with new eyes. Imagine your inner world as a guest house. Each morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, a moment of mindfulness, a dark thought, a visitor from the distant shores of memory. They come unannounced. The habitual reaction is to be a frantic innkeeper. You see depression arriving at the door and you panic. Not you. You ruin everything. You must leave at once. You try to bar the door, but it forces its way in, and now you're wrestling with it in the foyer, breaking the furniture. Or, when joy arrives, you cling to its sleeve. Please, you must stay forever. Sign a lifetime lease. And your clinging pressure makes joy uncomfortable, and it leaves sooner. The practice is to become a gracious, welcoming host. To meet each guest at the door, even the shabby, frightening ones, and say, welcome. Come in. I will make space for you. You do not have to like the guest. You do not have to serve it tea for hours. But you acknowledge its arrival. You give it a room. You let it be. You treat the dark thought, the shame, the fear, with this simple, dignified hospitality. Why? Because each guest has come to teach you something, to deliver a message, and it will leave on its own schedule once it has been heard. By resisting it, you only prolong its stay and increase the damage. By welcoming it, you allow it to move through. This is the teaching of radical hospitality. You are not your guests. You are the vast, timeless space of the guest house itself, capable of holding every experience without being destroyed by any of them. In a remote fjord in Iceland, an elderly woman named Gudrun kept the old tradition of kvöldvaka, the evening wake. During the long winter nights, families would gather to work on chores by lamplight, and someone would tell stories. Gudrun was the keeper of the tales. She didn't just recite them, she wove the listeners into them. If a child was fearful, the hero of that night's tale would be small but clever. If there was strife in the family, the story would speak of a rift healed by shared hardship. She once said, "A story is not a thing you tell. It is a space you build around the fire, and everyone present steps inside it." The same old tale is a different shelter depending on who is shivering outside. The narratives you tell yourself about your life. I am a victim, I am destined to fail, I must be perfect, are the stories you are weaving around your own inner fire. They are not necessarily true, but they create the psychic space you live in. They become the shelter you inhabit. If you are constantly telling yourself a story of lack and insecurity, you are building a cold, drafty hut and then wondering why you are always shivering. The teaching here is conscious story weaving. You have the power to examine the old, worn-out tales and ask, does this story shelter me or expose me? Does it bring warmth or cold? You can then choose to weave a new strand into the narrative, a thread of resilience, a pattern of self-compassion, a motif of gratitude. You are not denying the facts of your life, but you are changing the mythic structure you use to make meaning of them. And in doing so, you change the quality of the inner world you inhabit. We approach now a teaching of profound simplicity. It speaks of the beauty of what is original, unforced, and silent within you, before the world carved its expectations into your being, before you learned to ring the bell of your own anxiety on demand. Deep in Germany's Black Forest, a woodcarver named Klaus sought the perfect piece of lime wood for a new carving. For days, he walked among the trees, not looking for a shape, but listening for the absence of one. He finally stopped before a tall, straight, unremarkable block of wood. His apprentices were puzzled. "Master, it has no interesting grain, no knots, no character." Klaus placed a hand on the smooth, pale wood. "Exactly," he said softly. "It has no story yet. It is not trapped in being a branch or a root. It is pure potential. My knife will not impose a shape upon it. It will collaborate with this silence. The saint's face I carve is not in my mind, it is sleeping in this wood. My job is to remove everything that is not that serene face." In Taoist philosophy, this is called the uncarved block, pu. It represents your original nature, pure, whole, and at peace, before the chisels of society, trauma, and self-criticism went to work, carving you into a shape you were never meant to hold. You are not the intricate, stressful sculpture of who you should be. You are the quiet, whole block of wood that remains beneath all the carving. The practice is not to add more features, more achievements, more polish. It is a practice of subtractive remembrance. It is gently sanding away the rough edges of conditioned habits. It is smoothing the grooves of old resentments. It is letting the knife of silent meditation rest, allowing the natural grain of your being, your inherent kindness, clarity, and peace, to reveal itself. You are not becoming spiritual. You are returning to the uncarved state that was always there. Imagine a bell, perfectly cast, hanging in a still room. In its essence, it is silent. It contains the potential for a clear, resonant note, but that note only exists when the bell is struck. Now, imagine your mind is that bell. Your thoughts, worries, and reactions are the striker. Most of our lives are spent in a constant, frantic striking, dong, 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 creating a relentless noise we mistake for our identity. I am anxious, we say, when in truth, anxiety is just the striker hitting the bell. The bell itself, your awareness, remains unchanged. The practice of mindfulness is the practice of noticing the space after the strike. The reverberation, and then the return to silence. In that silence, you discover you are not the sound. You are the vessel that holds the potential for sound, and also the spacious silence that contains it. When you sit in meditation and a thought arises, dong. See if you can wait, and listen for the silence that follows. That silence is not empty. It is full of presence. It is your true nature. This is the teaching of the silent bell. Your goal is not to stop the striker forever, thoughts will always come, but to become intimately acquainted with the silence that is your ground of being. To rest as the bell, not as the clang. In the arid Australian outback, an Aboriginal elder known as a water diviner would lead parched communities to hidden water sources. He didn't use a forked stick. He would walk the land in a state of deep, quiet listening, his bare feet feeling for subtle vibrations, his whole being attuned to signs invisible to others, the behavior of ants, the direction of a particular bird's flight, a faint coolness rising from the earth. He listened for the pull of water. The water is singing, he'd say. Most people's minds are too noisy to hear it. You must become still enough for the land to speak to your bones. Within you, there is a hidden spring, a source of intuitive wisdom, guidance, and deep knowing. But it does not shout. It sings in a whisper, felt more than heard. The constant noise of your thinking mind, your planning, your worrying, drowns out its song. The practice of inner stillness, through meditation, nature walks, or simple silence, is not about achieving a blank mind. It is about becoming the water diviner of your own soul. It is quieting the surface noise so you can feel the subtle, life-giving pull from within. That pull might guide you toward rest when you're pushing too hard, toward a difficult but necessary conversation, or toward a creative idea whose time has come. This is the teaching of listening for the pull. Your deepest wisdom doesn't argue, it resonates. You must create the silence to hear its frequency. On the slopes of Signal Hill in Cape Town, a man named Samuel flies intricate, handmade kites. He specializes in single-line kites, which have no control bar. Their flight depends entirely on the delicate balance of their construction and his sensitive feel of the wind through the string. People ask him, "How do you control it?" He laughs. "I don't. I have a relationship with it. If I pull too hard, it dives. If I let the line go slack, it tumbles. I must feel the tension perfectly. Just enough connection to guide, not enough to force. The wind does the flying. I just maintain the link." Your relationship with life is like flying that kite. Your plans and efforts are the kite. The winds of circumstance, change, and the actions of others are the weather. Your awareness is the string. Suffering is the constant, jerky pulling, trying to force the kite into a specific pattern against the wind. It leads to crashes. Wisdom is developing a sensitive connection. It's feeling the tension on the string of your awareness. When resistance is high, the line goes taut. It might be time to gently release a little, to accept rather than fight. When you feel a lift, the line goes soft with an updraft. It might be time to move with the new energy. You are not in control of the wind. But through the sensitive, present-tense connection of your attention, you can guide your experience into graceful flight, collaborating with the forces that are much larger than you. We have walked through many landscapes of understanding. We have sat in many metaphors. Now, let us gather these threads not as separate lessons, but as a single, integrated tapestry. This is where wisdom moves from concept to lived experience, from something you understand to something you are. Progress on this inner journey is not a straight line upward. It is a spiral. You will return, again and again, to the same core challenges: fear, loss, judgment, impatience. But each time you return, you do so from a slightly higher vantage point on the spiral. You have more perspective, more tools, more compassion. What once felt like an imprisoning wall you had to batter down now appears as a familiar turn in the path, a place you know how to navigate with a little more grace. Do not despair when old patterns resurface. This is not failure. This is the spiral path doing its work. You are being given another opportunity to meet that fear with awareness, that anger with space, that clinging with gentle release. Each revolution deepens the groove of wisdom in your being. The teaching of the spiral frees you from the tyranny of linear perfection. You are not falling back. You are circling deeper in. There is a legend of a master weaver in medieval Flanders who, at the end of his life, undertook his final work. He did not choose the brightest silks or the most expensive gold thread. Instead, he wove with every kind of thread from his basket, the strong, plain linen of daily chores, the dark, rough wool of grief, the shimmering, delicate silk of joy, the tangled, knotted string of confusion, even a few strands of his own gray hair. The resulting tapestry, viewed from up close, seemed a chaotic mess of textures and colors, a record of a whole life's experience. But he instructed it to be hung high in the cathedral's choir. When the people gathered and looked up from the pews, the distance worked a miracle. The disparate threads merged into a breathtaking image of a human face, gentle and serene, lit by a divine light. The dark threads formed the compassionate shadows around the eyes. The knotted string became the character in the brow. The bright silks were the light on the cheek. Every experience, even the painful, tangled ones, was essential to the portrait of a soul at peace. Your life is that tapestry. The rough, dark threads are not mistakes. They are necessary for depth and contrast. The knotted, difficult periods are not flaws, they add texture and strength. From the limited, close-up perspective of your daily worries, it may look like a messy jumble. But from the vantage point of your wider awareness, from the perspective of the spiral path, a coherent, beautiful, and meaningful picture is being woven. This is the teaching of the completed view. Trust the weaver. Trust the process. Every thread belongs. All these teachings point to one thing, remembrance. You are not building a new you. You are remembering the you that existed before the world said you were too much or not enough. Before you learned to cling, before you feared the weather, before you forgot you were the sky. Start with a 2-second pause. So, let's practice this remembrance together, right now. 1.5-second pause. This is your homing beacon. 2-second pause. 1. Pause the search. Just for these next few moments, stop trying to get anywhere. Stop trying to be better. Let the seeking fall away. 3-second pause. 2. Feel the anchor. Drop your awareness fully into your body. Feel the weight in your hips, your thighs, your feet. Feel the solid support beneath you. Let gravity hold you, completely. 3-second pause. 3. Listen to the silence. Behind the sound of my voice, there is room tone. Behind that, there is a deeper silence. Listen for that. Not with effort, but with relaxation, as if you were listening for the faintest, most distant sound. For second pause, long silence here for effect. 4. Notice the aware space. Now, notice who is listening. Not the thinker, not the planner, not the worrier. But the simple, aware presence, that is aware of the silence, aware of the breath, aware of these words. That awareness is empty of content, yet full of knowing. It is like the clear glass of a window, not the landscape seen through it. 3-second pause. 5. Rest as that. For just a few heartbeats, let go of being anyone, or anything, in particular. Rest as this aware, silent, spacious presence. You are not doing it. You are being it. Gentle, slower pace for this last part. This is the uncarved block. This is the silent bell. This is the still pool in the inner citadel. 2-second pause, then softly. This is home. You can return to this simple practice anytime. When you feel lost, pause. Feel the anchor. Listen for the silence. Notice the aware space. It is always here. This is not a special state to achieve. It is the fundamental ground of your being, waiting for your recognition. Let us consider time not as a tyrant, but as a landscape we inhabit. Our relationship with past, present, and future shapes the very quality of our consciousness. In a sun-drenched courtyard within the Marrakesh Medina, an artisan named Amir specialized in crafting bespoke sundials. Clients would commission them for their riads, their private inner gardens. Amir's process was intimate. He would first spend an afternoon in their courtyard, noting the precise path of the sun across that exact square of sky. He would then engrave the stone not just with hour lines, but with subtle curves marking the quality of light, the long, slanting gold of late afternoon, the sharp, bright white of midday. A European client once asked, "But my watch is accurate to the second. What is the purpose of this?" Amir placed his hand on the warm stone. "Your watch tells you the time of the clock. My dial tells you the time of the place. It shows you your unique relationship to the sun, here and now. You can live by the clock and be everywhere at once. Or you can live by the dial, and be precisely, wholly here. We live by the abstract, uniform time of the clock, which pulls us into the generic future and the standardized past. The teaching of the place-based present invites us to find our personal sundial. This is the practice of radical localization of attention. What is the quality of this moment, in this place, in this body? Not, what time is it, but, what is the time of here? Feel the specific weight of your body in this chair. Hear the unique soundscape of your room. See the particular way the light falls. This anchors you not in clock time, but in lifetime, the only time you are actually alive. Your inner emotional climate is not a broken thermostat stuck on one setting. It is an ecosystem with its own legitimate, necessary seasons. There is the high, bright summer of joy and connection. The rich, letting go autumn of release and introspection. The deep, quiet winter of grief, rest, and inward tending. The tender, muddy spring of new beginnings and fragile hope. Our culture worships only summer. We treat winter as a pathology, a personal failure to be medicated or positive thought away. We exhaust ourselves trying to force blossoms in the snow. But the farmer knows winter is not the enemy of the crop. It is its silent partner. The frozen ground breaks up the soil. The fallow period restores nutrients. The dark prompts the seed to break its shell. The practice is to become the steward of your inner seasons. When sadness descends like a long twilight, can you meet it not as a defect, but as winter? Can you allow it its time, honoring its need for stillness, for wearing softer clothes, for simpler, more nourishing food for the soul? You don't have to love the frost, but you can learn its purpose. This is emotional permaculture. Work with your cycles, not against them. Honor the fallow periods. They are preparing the ground for a more authentic spring. Let us look more closely at the very act of perception itself. For what we call reality is, in many ways, a collaboration between the world and the lens through which we view it. In the bustling pink city of Jaipur, a master jeweler named Ravi worked in a small, dust-moted studio. His specialty was resurrecting discarded stones. He would acquire lots of rubbish gems, cloudy sapphires, fractured emeralds, dull rubies, deemed worthless by the market. His apprentices saw only the flaws. But Ravi would hold a murky stone to the light, turning it slowly. The flaw, he would say, is not in the heart of the stone. It is a veil across its face. With infinite patience, he would recut it. Not to follow a standard pattern, but to find the gem's own hidden geometry. A cloudy sapphire, cut along a new axis of light, would become a starburst of blue silk. A fractured emerald, carefully cleaved and polished, would become two perfect, glowing leaves of green. I do not create the beauty, he said. I remove the obstruction. Every stone has a perfect face trapped within. My job is to listen with my eyes until I see where to make the first cut. Your innate wisdom, peace, and clarity are the perfect gem. The obstructions are the clouded, fractured thoughts of, I am not enough, the dull layers of old resentment, the scratched surfaces of fear. Spiritual practice is not about acquiring a new gem. It is the patient, precise art of jewel-cutting meditation. It is using the sharp, gentle tool of mindful awareness to make precise cuts. A cut of letting go here. A facet of forgiveness there. A polish of self-compassion. You are not adding anything foreign. You are removing what has accumulated, revealing the original, brilliant structure that has always been there. The light was always waiting to shine through, it just needed the obstructive matter to be cleared away. When you are lost in the wilderness of your own thoughts, you possess a reliable, always available compass, the direct physical sensations of your body. Thoughts are maps that can be wrong. Emotions are weather that can change. But sensation is the ground under your feet, true and immediate. Let's try this now. Gently close your eyes. Let your awareness drain down from your busy head, like water finding its level, into the container of your body. Scan slowly from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Don't go looking for pain or pleasure. Just feel the neutral landscape. Is there warmth in your belly? A slight humming in your hands? A feeling of density in your legs? The pressure of contact where your body meets the chair? Just note it. Warmth. Humming. Pressure. Wait. When anxiety about a future meeting screams in your mind, this compass is your salvation. The anxiety is a story about tomorrow. But your body is only ever in now. Find where the story lands as sensation. Is it a tight band around the chest? A churning in the stomach? Place your attention on the raw sensation itself, not the story about it. Feel its texture, its temperature, its movement. Like a wave, it will swell, peak, and recede. By anchoring in the compass of sensation, you step out of the time travel of worry and plant your feet firmly in the present territory of your being. Your body is not a problem to be solved, it is a portal to presence. On the coast of Nova Scotia, where the Bay of Fundy breathes the highest tides on earth in and out, there lived an old fisherman known as the Tidesmith. He could read the water's intention not from a gauge, but from the color of the mudflats, the sigh of the waves against the wharf, the specific angle of the gulls riding the air currents. He built his weirs and set his lines in conversation with this immense, rhythmic pulse. A young marine biologist once presented him with digital tidal charts predicting the next 50 years. The tidesmith nodded politely. "Your machine knows the quantity of the water," he said. "It does not know its mood. I do not work against the tide, or merely wait for it. I dance with its temperament. Some high tides come in with a gentle swell that lifts my boat like a hand. Others come snarling, full of driftwood and rage. I adjust my knots for its character. Your energy, creativity, and emotional capacity are your inner tides. The modern world recognizes only the clock, demanding constant, high tide output. This leads to the exhaustion of forcing productivity during your natural ebb. The wisdom of the tidesmith is the practice of energetic reciprocity. It is learning to sense your own inner tide. Some days are spring tide, you are expansive, social, powerfully creative. Some days are neap tide, you are inward, slow, restorative. Fighting an ebb tide is as futile and damaging as trying to sail a heavy boat in shallow water. The practice is to feel your tide each morning. Ah, this is an ebb day. I will adjust my knots. I will focus on receptive tasks, reading, planning, rest. By aligning your actions with your natural rhythm, you move with grace and sustainable power. You stop wrestling the ocean and learn to sail it. Now we turn to the most potent mirrors we will ever encounter, other people. In them, we see reflections, sometimes clear, sometimes distorted, of our own inner world. In the quiet German town of Jena, famous for its optics, an elderly craftsman named Ernst was a master lens grinder for scientific instruments. Distraught scientists would bring him expensive microscope lenses, complaining the images were blurry, the data unreliable. Ernst would mount the lens on his lathe, peer through a magnifier, and sigh. "The problem is not in your specimen," he'd say. "The problem is here, in the curvature of your looking." With a touch as light as a breath, he would spend hours correcting infinitesimal imperfections in the glass. A lens, he explained, should be invisible. When you look through a perfect lens, you are not aware of the lens at all. You see only the truth of what is. Your mind right now is a lens. Is it scratched by old grievances? Warped by fear? Until you polish your own perception, you will never see anything clearly, no matter where you look. Our view of others is filtered through the lens of our own conditioning, our insecurities, our past hurts, our desires. When we see someone as hostile, dismissive, or untrustworthy, we must ask, is this the truth of them, or a scratch on my own lens? The spiritual work is lens polishing. It is the meticulous, gentle work of inquiry. What in me feels triggered? What old story does this touch? We don't polish the lens by blaming it, self-hatred, or blaming the light, the other person. We polish it with the soft cloth of compassionate self-awareness. As the lens clears, our vision changes. The other person may not alter their behavior, but our relationship to it transforms from one of reactive pain to one of clearer, more peaceful seeing. Imagine your inner being as a spacious guest house. Each day, new arrivals. A joy, a sadness, a shame, a moment of peace, a petty jealousy, a burst of generosity. They come unannounced, through the front door of your awareness. The untrained mind is a frantic, discriminatory innkeeper. When depression shuffles in, you scream, not you. You ruin everything, and try to bar the door, creating a violent struggle in your own hallway. When radiant joy arrives, you cling to its arm. You must never leave, your clinging makes joy uncomfortable, and it slips away sooner. The practice is to become a gracious host. To meet each guest at the threshold, even the ragged, scowling ones, and say, "Welcome. Come in. I will make space for you." You do not have to like the guest. You do not have to serve at a feast. But you acknowledge its arrival. You give it a room. You let it be. You treat the dark thought, the anxiety, the memory, with this basic, dignified hospitality. Why? Because each guest carries a message, a lesson about your inner landscape. It will leave once it has been heard. By resisting it, you force it to shout louder and stay longer. By welcoming it, you allow it to deliver its note and depart. You are not your guests. You are the vast, silent space of the guest house itself, capable of containing all without being defined by any. In a remote Icelandic fishing village, an elder woman named Asta was the keeper of the Uller, the oral poems and family sagas. During the long winter darkness, people gathered in the bastofa, the communal living room, to knit and listen. Asta didn't just recite tales, she wove the listeners' lives into them. If there was tension between brothers, she would tell a saga of estranged kinsmen finding reconciliation on a glacier. If a young person felt hopeless, the night's hero would be an unlikely youth who saved the village not by strength, but by quiet cleverness. A story, Asta said, is not a rock you hand to someone. It is a shelter you build together from words. The same saga is a different shelter if it is snowing outside or if the northern lights are dancing. The narratives you repeat to yourself about your own life, "I'm a failure, I'm unlovable, I must be perfect," are the stories you are weaving for shelter. They are not necessarily factual, but they create the psychic structure you live within. If you tell yourself a story of fragility and threat, you build a flimsy, cold hut. The teaching of conscious story weaving is recognizing you are the author. You can examine the old, drafty story and ask, does this narrative protect me or expose me? Does it bring warmth or chill? You can then choose to weave in a sturdier beam of self-respect, a warmer thread of, "I am learning," a more flexible strand of, "This too is part of the journey." You change not the events of your past, but the living myth that gives them meaning in your present. And in doing so, you change the quality of the entire inner world you inhabit. We now approach the most subtle and profound territory, your original nature, before the world added its layers of description, before you learned to perform the role of you. Deep in the silent, pine-scented black forest of Germany, a master carver named Lucas would walk for days to find the right piece of wood. He was not seeking a shape, but the absence of one. He finally stopped before a tall, unremarkable block of pale, smooth lime wood. His apprentices were confused. "Master, it has no interesting knots, no wild grain. It is plain." Lucas placed both palms on the wood, as if listening to its heart. "Exactly," he whispered. "It is plain. It is pure. It is not yet a chair leg or a saint's face. It is potential itself. My knife will not force my idea upon it. I will ask the wood what face sleeps within it. My work is to remove everything that is not that serene, sleeping face. This is the wisdom of the uncarved block, Pooh. It represents your true nature before the chisels of expectation, trauma, and social conditioning went to work, carving you into the stressful sculpture of who you should be. You are not the intricate, fragile statue. You are the solid, whole, silent block of wood that remains beneath all the carving. Spiritual practice, then, is not an additive process of becoming spiritual. It is a subtractive process of remembering the block. It is the gentle sanding away of the rough edges of habit. It is the smoothing of the grooves of old, painful stories. It is allowing the knife of silence sitting to rest, so the natural, beautiful grain of your being, your inherent peace, clarity, and kindness, can be revealed. You are not building a new self. You are returning to the original self that was never damaged. Picture a bell, perfectly cast, hanging in an empty hall. In its essence, it is silent. It contains within it the potential for a clear, resonant note, but that note only exists when the bell is struck. Now imagine your mind is that bell. Your thoughts, worries, plans, and memories are the striker. Most of our lives are spent in a state of constant, frantic striking, clang, 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 creating a cacophony we mistakenly call me. I am anxious, we say, when in truth, anxiety is just the striker hitting the bell. The bell itself, your pure awareness, remains untouched, silent, and whole. Meditation is the practice of listening for the silence after the strike. The reverberation fades, and then there is a return to the fundamental silence. In that silence, you discover you are not the sound. You are the vessel that holds the potential for all sound, and also the spacious silence that contains it. When you sit and a thought arises, clang, notice it, and then wait. Listen for the quiet that follows. That quiet is not empty. It is vibrant with presence. It is your true home. This is the teaching of the silent bell. The goal is not to stop the striker forever, thoughts are natural, but to become so intimately acquainted with the silence that you can rest there, as the bell, undisturbed by the occasional, passing clang. In the vast, red heart of the Australian outback, an Aboriginal elder, a custodian of the old ways, was known for finding water where maps showed none. He used no forked stick. He would walk the land in a state of deep, body-based listening, his bare feet reading the earth's subtle vibrations, his entire being attuned to signs invisible to the logical mind, the specific flight path of a zebra finch, the pattern of cracks in the claypan, a coolness rising from a certain patch of dust. "The water sings," he would say. But most people's minds are like a crowded city, too much noise to hear the song. You must become as quiet as the land itself, until you feel the pull in your bones. Within you lies a hidden aquifer, a deep source of intuitive knowing, somatic wisdom, and soul-level guidance. It does not speak in words. It communicates through a subtle pull, a gut feeling, a sense of rightness or dissonance, an image that arrives in stillness. The constant noise of mental commentary, planning, and worrying drowns out its song. The practice of inner quiet. Through meditation, walking in nature, or simply sitting and feeling, is not about creating a blank mind. It is about becoming the water diviner of your own soul. It is settling the dust of thought so you can feel the subterranean pull toward what is nourishing, true, and aligned for you. That pull might guide you to rest, to speak, to create, or to wait. This wisdom doesn't argue, it resonates. You must create the inner stillness to feel its frequency. Let's explore the art of engaged living, how to move through the world with grace, intention, and a light touch, understanding that true progress is rarely a straight line. On the green slopes of Signal Hill, overlooking Cape Town and the sea, a man named Thomas flew magnificent, hand-painted kites. His specialty was the single-line kite, the kind with no control bar. Its flight depended entirely on its delicate balance and his sensitive connection through the string. Tourists would watch, mesmerized, and ask, "How do you control it so perfectly?" Thomas would smile, his eyes on the kite dancing against the blue. "I don't control it," he'd say. "I have a conversation with it. If I pull too hard, it fights and dives. If I let the line go slack, it loses purpose and tumbles. I must feel the exact tension, a connection that guides but never forces. The wind does the flying. I simply maintain the relationship. Your life is that kite. Your plans, efforts, and actions are its frame and sail. The winds of circumstance, change, and other people's wills are the weather. Your mindful awareness is the string. Suffering is the desperate, jerky pulling, trying to force the kite into a predetermined pattern against the prevailing wind. It leads to crashes and tangled lines. Wisdom is developing a sensitive connection. It is feeling the feedback through the string of your attention. When you meet great resistance, the line goes taut. It may be wisdom to ease your grip, to accept rather than oppose. When you feel a benevolent lift, the line goes soft with an updraft. It may be time to play, to create, to move with the supportive energy. You are not in control of the wind. But through present, sensitive connection, you can guide your life into a dance of graceful adaptation, collaborating with forces much larger than your individual will. Let go of the idea of linear, upward progress. The inner journey is not a staircase leading steadily to enlightenment. It is a spiral. You will encounter the same core issues, fear, judgment, attachment, impatience, again and again. But each time you circle back, you do not return to the same point. You meet it from a slightly higher turn of the spiral, with more perspective, more compassion, more skill. Do not despair when an old pattern of reactivity, a familiar anxiety, or a well-known doubt returns. This is not failure. This is the spiral path offering you a new exam, a more advanced lesson. Ah, you can say, here is fear again. But now I know its face. I have tools. I have space around it. Each revolution wears the groove of suffering a little smoother and deepens the channel of wisdom. The teaching of the spiral liberates you from the crushing demand for perfect, uninterrupted improvement. You are not falling back. You are circling deeper, integrating the lessons into the very marrow of your being. In a remote village in Korea, a master potter named Ji-min was famous for her ando, traditional wood-fired kilns built into a hillside. The firing process took days, and the results were famously unpredictable. The same clay, the same glaze, could emerge from the ash and flame as a dull, cracked vessel or a piece of breathtaking Yolhan, flame treasure, with colors and textures no human hand could deliberately paint. Apprentices would lament failed pieces. Ji-min would pick up a pot with a dramatic crackle pattern. "You see a flaw," she said. "I see where the fire spoke. I do not command the flame. I prepare the clay with care, I place it in the kiln with intention, and then I surrender to the process." The fire is the great teacher. It reveals the true character of the clay. Sometimes it breaks it. Sometimes it makes it more beautiful than any plan of mine ever could. Your life experiences, especially the difficult, fiery ones. Loss, failure, illness, crisis, are the kiln. Your conscious practice, your values, your mindfulness, are the careful preparation of the clay. The outcome is not fully in your control. The teaching of surrender to the kiln is about doing your part with excellence and then releasing attachment to a specific, predetermined result. The fire of circumstance may crack you in ways that feel like ruin, only to reveal later that those cracks became the very features that give your character its unique depth and beauty, your resilience, your empathy, your hard-won wisdom. You cannot control the flame. You can only choose how you meet it, with resistance that leads to shattering, or with a surrendered trust that allows transformation. We have gathered many threads. Let us now see how they weave together into a single, living understanding, not as separate lessons, but as different facets of one truth. There is a tale from medieval Flanders of a weaver who, at the end of a long life, embarked on his final work. He did not choose the brightest silks or the finest gold thread from his chest. Instead, he gathered every kind of thread he had, the strong, humble linen of daily toil, the dark, coarse wool of seasons of grief. The shimmering, fragile silk of transient joy, the tangled, knotted string of confusion and mistakes, even a few strands of his own white hair. Viewed up close on the loom, the work seemed a chaotic jumble of textures and colors, a literal record of a human life, with all its roughness and shine. But he instructed that the tapestry be hung high in the cathedral's apse. When the townspeople gathered for Mass and looked up from the pews, the distance worked a miracle of perspective. The disparate threads merged into a single, breathtaking image, the serene, compassionate face of a saint, illuminated by a divine light. The dark wool formed the tender shadows around the eyes. The knotted string gave character and depth to the brow. The bright silks became the luminescence on the cheek. Every thread, even the most painful and tangled, was essential to the portrait of a soul that had found peace. Your life is that tapestry. The dark threads are not errors. They are necessary for contrast, depth, and meaning. The knotted, difficult passages are not flaws, they contribute strength and texture. From the limited, myopic view of your daily worries, seeing only the messy back of the tapestry, it can look like a senseless tangle. But from the wider vantage point of awakened awareness, from the perspective of the spiral path, a coherent, beautiful, and sacred picture is being woven. This is the teaching of the completed view. Trust the weaver. The intelligence of life itself, or your own deeper soul. Trust the process. Every experience, every thread, belongs to the wholeness. All these stories and teachings point to one thing: remembrance. You are not a beggar at the gates of a distant kingdom called peace. You are a prince or princess who fell asleep in the garden of your own being and forgot you live in the palace. All practices are homing signals, beckoning you back. Let's integrate them into a single, simple practice you can use anytime. This is your homing beacon. 1. Pause the search. Stop trying to get somewhere else, to be someone else. For this moment, let the seeking dissolve. 2. Feel the anchor of the body. Let your awareness drop fully into physical sensation. Feel the weight of your bones, the support beneath you. This is the compass of sensation. You are here. 3. Listen for the silent bell. Behind the sounds around you, listen for the underlying silence. In that silence, notice the aware space that is listening. That is the silent bell of your consciousness, the unchanging witness. 4. Welcome the guest. Scan your inner landscape. Is there a feeling present, tension, sadness, ease? Welcome it as you would a guest in the guest house. Acknowledge its presence without fighting or clinging. 5. Rest as the uncarved block. Let go of all stories about who you are. Simply be the aware, silent presence that is aware of the body, the silence, the guest. This is the uncarved block, your original, peaceful nature. 6. Feel the deep current. From this anchored, silent space, feel the gentle, unhurried flow of life breathing you. This is the deep current of being, moving beneath surface turmoil. This sequence is not a ladder to climb, but a circle to inhabit. It is the act of coming home. You can do this in 1 minute amidst daily chaos. You are not creating peace, you are uncovering the peace that has never left. A seeker came to a wise teacher living at a crossroads. I am torn, the seeker said. One path leads to worldly success, but my heart feels cold on it. The other path calls to my soul, but it seems obscure and difficult. How do I choose? The teacher pointed to 2 gates in a nearby wall. Beyond the first gate, she said, is a crowded, noisy marketplace. People trade, shout, acquire, and lose. It is the world of external seeking, for approval, security, sensation. Beyond the second gate is a quiet, walled garden. In it is a single bench, an old tree, and a well. It is the world of internal discovery. But which gate should I take? Pleaded the seeker. You misunderstand, said the teacher. You are not the traveler choosing a gate. You are the gatekeeper. Your awareness holds the keys to both. Your suffering comes from locking yourself out of the garden and throwing away the key, living solely in the marketplace and then wondering why you are never satisfied. Your freedom lies in knowing you can pass through the archway into the garden whenever you wish. Sit by the well. Listen to the tree. Then, when you are nourished and clear, you can return to the marketplace to engage, to work, to love. But you will do so as someone who knows where the garden is, and that you can return home at will. You are the gatekeeper. The garden is your inner refuge, the citadel, the still pool, the silent bell. The marketplace is the world of action, relationship, and change. Enlightenment is not fleeing the marketplace for the garden. It is mastering the art of passing freely between them, knowing your true home is in the garden, but your compassionate work is often in the marketplace. You are never trapped. Wisdom that remains only an idea is like a seed unplanted. True transformation happens when understanding sinks from the mind into the bones, when it becomes the way you move through an ordinary day. In the hills of Uji, Japan, a tea master named Hoshino was revered not for elaborate ceremonies, but for the profound peace that surrounded his simplest acts. A visitor, expecting esoteric secrets, once watched him perform a basic, daily task, washing a teacup. Hoshino's attention was absolute. He felt the temperature of the water with his skin, heard its pour as a melody, saw the play of light on the wet clay as it turned in his hands. He dried it with a cloth as if polishing a jewel. The whole act took 3 minutes, but to the observer, it felt like a sacred ritual. What meditation technique are you practicing? The visitor asked. Hoshino placed the clean cup on the shelf. There is no technique separate from the cup, he said. When I wash the cup, there is only the washing of the cup. My mind is not ahead, planning the next task. It is not behind, regretting the last. It is married to the motion of my hands, the feeling of the clay, the sound of the water. In that marriage, the separate self dissolves. There is just washing. And in that just, there is everything. This is the practice of absorbed engagement. It is not a special state reserved for the meditation cushion. It is the art of bringing your entire awareness into the most mundane activity, tying your shoes, brushing your teeth, stirring a pot. When you do this, the activity ceases to be a chore on the way to something else. It becomes the main event, a doorway into the present moment. The mind that is planning and regretting is the source of anxiety. The mind that is fully married to its current action is at peace. You don't need to change what you do. You need to change how you pay attention to what you do. Consider a stonecutter, hammering a rock 100 times without a crack. On the 101st blow, it splits in two. It would be easy to see that final blow as the cause. But it was not the one blow, it was all the blows that came before. Your inner transformation follows the same law. You sit in meditation, and your mind races. You feel you've failed. You practice patience in a difficult conversation, but still feel angry afterward. It's easy to believe nothing is happening. But each mindful breath, each conscious pause, each moment of choosing kindness over reaction, is a blow against the hard stone of your conditioned habits. The cumulative force is immense, even when invisible. The breakthroughs, the sudden moments of profound peace, deep insight, or effortless compassion, are merely the visible results of the unseen work. This is the law of cumulative force. Trust the process. Do not judge the single session, the single day. Keep striking with gentle, persistent awareness. The inner stone will split, revealing the gem within, but on its own schedule, not yours. In Venice, a city of bridges, there is a legend of a Ponte dei Sospiri, a bridge of sighs. The story says that if two lovers kiss in a gondola beneath it at sunset, their love will be eternal. But an older, quieter legend speaks of a different bridge, a forgotten footbridge in a sleepy canal. They called it the Ponte del Respiro, the Bridge of Breath. It was said that if you stood at its crest and took 3 conscious, slow breaths, letting your exhalations merge with the lapping water below, you would remember something you had forgotten. You would remember that you are not the frantic tourist map reading on the street, nor the worried merchant in his shop. You are the breath itself, connecting the 2 sides of your being, the side of doing and the side of being, as the bridge connects the 2 sides of the canal. You are the connection. Your breath is that bridge. It is the constant, physiological link between your involuntary, animating life force and your voluntary, conscious attention. It is always with you. In any moment of stress, confusion, or fragmentation, you can find this inner Ponte del Respiro. Stand upon it mentally. Take 3 breaths. Feel the inhalation as the arrival of life. Feel the exhalation as a release back into the world. In those 3 breaths, you are not solving the problem. You are re-establishing the connection between your small self and the vast, rhythmic intelligence of life that breathes you. You remember you are the bridge, not the traffic crossing it. This is the teaching of the bridge of breath. It is the most portable, always available sanctuary. As the inner landscape settles, something beautiful and inevitable begins to unfold outward, a natural, unforced compassion. This is not a duty, but a flowering. In a small shop in the Marrakesh souk, an old tailor named Ahmed did more than mend garments. People would bring him clothes torn in arguments, faded from grief, or stained by loss. As he worked his needle, he would listen. He never gave advice. Instead, as his hands repaired fabric, he would offer a story. A tale of a stubborn olive tree that finally bore fruit after a long drought, or of 2 streams that fought over a rock until they learned to flow around it together. The story never directly addressed the person's problem. Yet, as they left with their mended garment, they often felt a mending within, as if the story had subtly retailored their perspective, letting in a new seam of light. I do not fix people, Ahmed said. I only listen, and sometimes a story visits that fits the shape of their trouble. A story is a gentle garment for a raw truth. It allows the truth to be worn without so much chafing. Compassionate communication is often less about fixing and more about tailoring a space. It is listening so deeply that you sense not just the words, but the shape of the pain beneath them. Your response then isn't a blunt instrument of solution, but a gentle offering of presence. A story, a metaphor, a simple acknowledgement, that fits that unique shape and provides a little warmth, a little dignity. You are not the savior. You are the tailor, offering a temporary garment of understanding so the soul can have the comfort to heal itself. Imagine a hidden, ancient well in the center of a forgotten village square. This is not a well for water, but for tears. For generations, people have come in moments of overwhelming sorrow. Not to draw anything out, but to add their tears to the collective depth. A mother grieving a child, a farmer watching his fields burn, a lover abandoned. Each one would weep into the dark stone mouth. The legend says the well has no bottom. It simply holds. And there is a strange solace in knowing your particular grief is being added to this eternal reservoir of human sorrow. You are not alone in your sadness, you are participating in a universal rite. Your tears become part of a vast, unseen ocean of feeling that connects you to every heart that has ever broken. Within you is a metaphorical well of shared tears. It is the part of your heart that understands, without words, the universality of suffering. When you see a stranger crying on a park bench, or hear of a tragedy far away, and you feel a pang in your chest, that is you touching this well. This is not personal sadness, it is the resonance of shared humanity. Compassion, karuna, is the conscious decision to acknowledge this well, to bow to its depth. It softens the hard edges of judgment. It whispers, "You are suffering. I know this taste. We are in this, separate yet together. You don't have to fix the well. You only have to honor its existence, in others, and in yourself." In the English countryside, a gardener named Elara was hired to tend a grand estate. The owners wanted perfect lawns and orderly rose beds. Elara complied, but she also secretly cultivated a strip of land along the old stone wall at the property's edge. Here, she allowed what others called weeds to grow. Nettles, foxgloves, wild poppies, ivy. She called it the sanctuary strip. When the estate owners were stressed by their polished lives, they would sometimes find themselves drawn to this untamed edge. They couldn't say why, but the buzzing of bees in the clover and the defiant red of the poppies against the gray stone soothed them in a way the perfect roses did not. Elara explained, "The roses say, 'Look at me, admire my perfection.' The wild edge says, 'You belong here, too, just as you are.' Your compassion must include a sanctuary strip for yourself and others. Beyond the cultivated garden of your virtues and good behaviors, there must be an unconditionally accepted wild edge, the parts that are messy, untamed, weedy, with flaws, spontaneous emotions, and unexplained moods. This is not an excuse for harm, but an acknowledgement of wholeness. True compassion makes space for the wild poppy of anger to bloom and pass, for the nettle of envy to have its place without being eradicated with shame. It offers the same to others. It says, your cultivated garden is lovely. And your wild edge belongs, too. You are complete. And so, we arrive at the end of our spoken journey, and at the beginning of everything else. Let us gather the harvest of these hours, not as a weight to carry, but as a lightness to wear. Imagine a wagon wheel, rolling along the road of your life. The outer rim touches everything, the bumps of difficulty, the smooth stretches of joy, the mud of sorrow, the gravel of daily chores. The spokes are all the practices and understandings we've explored: mindfulness, non-attachment, compassion, self-inquiry. They connect the rim to the center. But the peace, the true freedom, is not in the rim where the contact is, nor is it in the spokes which are constantly under tension. The peace is in the silent, motionless hub. The hub does not roll. It is the still point around which all the turning happens. The rim may jolt and spin, the spokes may flex and strain, but the hub is untouched, at rest. You are that hub. Your experiences are the turning rim. Your thoughts and reactions are the flexible spokes. All these teachings are merely invitations to discover your identity as the hub, the silent, aware center that witnesses the journey without being battered by it. You need not control the ride. You only need to remember where you are seated. A seeker traveled far to find a famous guide who lived in a cave at the head of a valley. After an arduous journey, he found the cave. Inside, the guide sat by a small fire. "I have come for wisdom," the seeker said. "Show me the path to peace." The guide said nothing. He only smiled, poured a cup of tea, and handed it to the seeker. Then, he stood, walked to the mouth of the cave, and pointed down the valley the way the seeker had come. The seeker was confused. "Are you sending me away?" The guide nodded, still pointing. Disappointed but obedient, the seeker turned to leave. As he stepped out of the cave, he saw the valley transformed. The same path he had struggled up was now bathed in evening light, every stone and stream clear and beautiful. He turned to thank the guide, but the cave was empty. Only the fire remained, and beside it, the empty teacup. In that moment, he understood. The guide had not given him a new path. He had only turned him around and allowed him to see that the path he was already on was the path, and that he had always been the one walking it. The wisdom was not in the cave, but in the seeing. These hours have been that guide. These words have been the pointing finger, turning you gently to face your own life, your own breath, your own awareness. The guide's job is to disappear, leaving you with the empty cup of your own mind, ready to be filled with your own direct experience. As we part ways in this spoken form, I offer you this ancient blessing, reworded for your heart. May you be gentle with your own becoming. May you recognize the hub within when the wheel of life turns fast. May you tend the sanctuary strip of your own wild and tender heart. May you drink deeply from the well of shared tears and find it makes you kinder, not weaker. May you know, in your quietest moments, that you are already home. The lamp you have been seeking is the hand that holds it. The refuge you have longed for is the breath you just took. The teacher you awaited is the silence that hears these words. A practice for ending and beginning. As this sound ends, let there be a pause. In that pause, do nothing. Don't reach for the next thing. Don't review what you've heard. Simply let the silence in the room meet the silence in you. In that meeting, there is no speaker and no listener. There is just this. And this is enough. This has always been enough. Thank you for your sacred attention. This has been Monk's Temple. Go in peace, and carry this peace with you, for it was always yours.